Ciao from Milan, Italia. This is Giulia Fabrizi, and I'm delighted to welcome you to ESOMAR Update.
Welcome to the ESOMAR Update. This week, Rhiannon updates us on the ESOMAR content and event plans for this year. Our president, Joachim, reflects on his presidential term. Kim connects us with our member in focus, Tarek from Lebanon, and we join Finn to talk about privacy.
So welcome to the ESOMAR Updates, and I'm really pleased to be able to invite one of my colleagues, Rhiannon, who is our Senior Content and Global Events Manager, who's going to be talking to us a little bit about what's changed with regards to our events and content planning for this year. And it's really lots of exciting stuff is happening. So Rhiannon, welcome.
Hi Kim. Hi, welcome everyone. So thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. And Rhiannon, I think let's just jump right in. So I've heard that there's been a lot of changes and also a lot of members asking about what's coming on with all of these flagships and the spotlights and what's the plan? What's the mad plan behind all of this?
The mad plan, I can inform you. Well, actually, the mad plan comes from talking to our members last year. Of course, we had this, while we couldn't meet people physically, the digital world gave us proximity to our members, so we could talk to a lot more people. And they really spat out what they would like to see this year. So I'll keep it short because all the information is at esomar.org/events. But we have two types of events mainly. So we have our flagship series. We will organize one every quarter of the year on a specific theme. And why I say flagship, it means that we have a call for speakers where, this is where we have an advisory board who are working with us, the experts, and we have a call for speakers and there'll be a submission process. So we're already in full swing for Q1, the first event that will be held on the 31st of March. The theme is trust and transformation, and taking on board the feedback from our members about not having a long marathon of events. What we've done is we have broadcast the program in 3 segments, like 3 episodes. So we'll have a session in the morning for Asia Pacific. We will have a series in the afternoon, my time in the afternoon. That would be for North America and Europe. Of course, it means that if you miss the live version, you could also attend the on-demand. And finally, there'll be a 3rd episode for our Latin American community, which will be in Spanish and Portuguese. So short and sweet, that will be our flagship series, and it continues through the year. So Q1 is coming up. Q2, we'll have in June an event specifically focusing on vision and values. This is tied in also with our Research of Effectiveness Award launch. So lots going on. Q3, I'm sure you'll ask me more about, this is what we would call the Congress. This will be in September. And then the 4th for the Q4 will be on future-proof and foresight as we look to 2022 and the theme there. So we have 4 events, 4 call for speakers.
And indeed, you mentioned, everybody keeps asking the question, are we having a physical Congress this year or?
Well, to be honest, we would love to. I mean, it's the highlight for us to organize this and connect with everyone. It's, of course, our flagship. It would be our 74th event, Congress. But unfortunately, we don't think it's going to be possible just because of the nature of our events. We have a very international audience. At least 80 countries would join. It's not to say we couldn't create local hubs and people could tune in and maybe we could organize a local stages there. But our main plan is a digital event for 2021, a digital Congress experience.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the difference between the flagship series that you've talked about and the spotlights that you're also organizing throughout the year?
Yeah, because that's interesting, because when we were talking with our members about what they wanted and we were called for speak and we were looking ahead, a lot of our members said, well, there's actually a lot of great content you had. This digital world is no longer just forward. You can go back and rewatch. So somebody pointed out we had a lot of breakthrough thinking over the 70 plus years ESOMAR has been around. Not all of it was captured on video, of course, but in recent years it has been and is in ANA, our library for our ESOMAR members. So the idea is that we invite our members to be a host. I say our members, but we have one specific host who would choose select content from ANA and then bring it back, into the air and broadcast it again and tell us why they chose it. So it could be, for example, breakthrough in qualitative or something, specifically in a region. We've already done one on pricing. We've done one this week on customer experience. We're going to have one on brand purpose. We've one on research effectiveness. So there's a lot of these spotlights. So the difference is existing content, but shown into the spotlight again to show what great, thought leadership the community has had.
Amazing. Well, Rhiannon, thank you so much for giving us such a broad overview about what we've got planned in terms of content and events. I think it's all sounding really exciting. Where can the members go if they're interested in more information?
Yep, they can go to our website, esomar.org/events. So in there, you'll see a collage of events for different kind of purposes, different audiences, but the flagship series are clearly marked, and also the spotlight. So I look forward to welcoming people there. And of course, they can always write into us and ask if they have questions or call us, and we'll be happy to help.
Great. Thanks, Rhiannon, for kicking off this ESOMAR updates. And we look forward to the next one. Thanks a lot for joining us, Rhiannon.
Thanks for inviting me. Sorry I keep interrupting you. Hopefully you'll invite me back. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Joachim, hi. Thank you for joining us. I know that you've been busy in the last number of days recording a little farewell message to all of our members to talk about your term as presidency, or as president rather, of ESOMAR. But thank you too for joining us today. I thought I might try and just ask you one or two sneak peek preview questions of the speech and get your views on how you felt your term as president had been. So just to start off, what have you been happiest about during your term as president of ESOMAR?
Well, thanks, Finn. Thanks for having me today. So, today, what I have to say about what I'm most happy about is the quality of the list of candidates that we have for the council elections. Given the circumstances of the pandemic, I think this is a success that we have such a good list of people prepared and ready to go for council. But apart from that, I think that I would have seen two moments. One is the reaction we had when the COVID pandemic exploded and became global. I think the community needed a referent, and we became that referent. Remember that we had like three pillars of reaction. One pillar was to secure our team and the finances of the association. Second one was to send out a very strong message to the world and our constituencies that research was more needed than ever, and that the cash flow chain could not be stopped, that we needed that cash flow chain to be alive for the security and the survival of the whole system. Mm-hmm. And the third one, we wanted to give a space where people in the community could feel comfortable and give tools to get out into the crisis. So I think that was, for me, that's a very important moment. I perfectly remember the first address I gave. I think it was the 16th of March or 17th of March, something like that. And I've never had so many comments and so many feedbacks in another speech. I mean, this was a very needed voice for the community. And I celebrate that we were fast enough to react. And the last one I would outstand is that we have built bridges. We have built bridges, Finn. Think of, I am super proud of the immense work that the ambassadors and the ESOMAR national representatives have done throughout this term, and also how we have been much closer to the national associations. And so the sense of community, I think, has been enlarged, and a sign of that, I think, is the immense voice that we have now in the council elections.
I do remember when you first became president, and we were chatting about what was going to be in store for the next 2 years. And we said, there'll always be a surprise somewhere in the next 2 years. I don't think we would ever have believed it was COVID.
Not really, not really, not that one. That was not too big.
Clearly it was an extraordinary 2-year term with all the things that were happening around the world. Do you have do you have a fond memory? Is there something that you would say, this was something that for me personally, I enjoyed most in my time?
Yes. Again, I will give you different moments. One is, first of all, the interaction with the community and the people. So when we could travel, being present in North America, in Latam, in Europe, in Asia, unfortunately not in Africa. That's the missing country in my term physically. But then on the screens, I've been present with all communities, and I think that's very important for me, the interaction with people. The second one, I might be the only president with only one Congress, presidential Congress, physical Congress, and Congress, it's the moment in which we condense all the values of ESOMAR. It's when we meet, and for me, it was now that I have had the experience of one, then it becomes even more valuable. And that Congress for me was very special, and particularly the opening speech, for me was maybe, and I think it was the most important speech in my career so far. Maybe it is. And I had to address to the whole community, and I wanted to deliver some important messages. And I think it was a well-received speech in which I could make the link between the industrial revolutions happening in Edinburgh. By the way, I love the city. And the current data revolution. And it was very special as well, because that day was my 10th birthday of my little daughter, Anna. And for me, it was a difficult moment not being at home with her, but I felt her always with me there. And she will be always attached to that very special moment in my career, because she was with me. I mean, she was not physically with me, but I could feel her. And it was the day I thought about her and said, look, this day that for me it's been so special, you will always be here with me. So yeah, there are many moments. Without stand. And a third thing that I would like to outstand, because it can be useful for the viewers. When I look back and I look when I joined council, when I first ran for council, my first campaign in 2014, I mean, I was so candid about the vision I had about the ESOMAR and the things that we needed to do. And I was so candid about what being at the ESOMAR council meant. And when I look back and I look all the journey I have made, all the moments I have been obliged to get out of my comfort zone, the moments I have been obliged to get my skills much farther than I expected, or even to develop some of them that I didn't know I had. I think it's a very, very nice maturity process. And now today I feel much more prepared in so many other fields that I was not that prepared at that moment. So that's, I think, a very nice personal process that I've undertaken, and that I always stress out when people ask me what's important about council, or what have you changed since you've been in council? And I would say that you personally get into an internal process that makes you stretch your capabilities, and you discover that you have capabilities you didn't know you had. And I think that's a very nice personal outcome that I take with me.
Lovely thoughts. And I presume, of course, you'll tell your daughter when she gets married, in your speech about the 10th birthday and Edinburgh as well.
Yeah, let's see what it is. There will be many, but this one is important for me. Always Congress falls into her birthday, her birthday's dates, more or less. And I've always tried to be with her. And this one was just the opening speech that for me was so important. Yeah, so it was
fantastic.
Nice.
Fantastic. Well, look, I know, because I know I don't want to take away from your video, but looking now ahead, clearly it's going to be a new president elected very shortly. But what do you wish for ESOMAR for the future?
So first of all, I wish ESOMAR is still relevant for at least 70 more years. I mean, when I think about this, with this length of life of ESOMAR, it's outstanding, and how relevant ESOMAR has been able to be all this past century. So I wish we keep it relevant. And throughout this term, I've been talking about on many occasions about the digitization of our societies and the challenges it brings to all industries, and particularly our industry. So we are now in a moment in which data is becoming the currency. And more people are touching this currency, and more people are eager to get connected to this currency. So I think that what we have to focus on is in two main things. One is to enlarge our community and embrace all these new people, all these new companies, all these technologies that are dealing with data, and preserve the rigor and the high quality that we have been preserving. And we are the ones that know how to deal and treat personal data. So now that there is more people getting into this personal data management, our voice is needed to be heard and has this relevance. And you, Finn, and the ESOMAR team and the Legal Affairs Committee, Professional Standards Committee, you've done a great job in getting that ESOMAR louder voice in front of the legislator. We have been fundamental in many parts of the world to guarantee that our profession is well kept and well considered. But there is another part in this digital world, which is the digital platforms. These digital platforms today are the ones that are the source of this data. They're becoming the main source of this data. And we as industry, we might be too invisible for them, and they might not perceive us as so relevant, which is the contrary, because we are the ones that can provide them neutrality. We are the ones that can really give to their data objectivity. So they need us, and I would say that they need us more than they think. So I believe that we also have to be very capable of taking these big platforms into our scene, into our sphere, and also make them embrace this high standard of demand that we have in when we treat with people's privacy and when we treat with people's data, which is the raw material of our industry. So I am sure this new council will be excellent. I am sure, because as I said before, the list of candidates is amazing. And I've been reading all the statements and watching all their statements and videos and so on. And I see that there are many messages, including talking about inclusivity, about attracting new talent and being relevant. So I am sure that the new council will really be a very good one in that regard.
Well, Joaquin, thank you. Thank you for a number of things. Thank you for being the president that you were. Thank you on behalf of all of the staff in ESOMAR for always being there to listen and to guide and to chat with us whenever we wanted. And you may not be president, but you still are on the council for the next 2 years. So we very much look forward to having your voice there and to providing the continuity, which is so very important in switching from one council to the next. So thank you for all of those. And thanks for spending a few moments today. I very much look forward to seeing your video, by the way, but thanks for spending these few minutes with us today.
Thank you, Finn. It's my pleasure. And you know that I will be there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're really pleased to be able to launch this segment, which is a new segment about ESOMAR members and putting them in focus. And I'm really pleased that the first person who's decided to join us for this little segment is Tarek Amar, who is based in Lebanon. Tarek, welcome. And I'd love if you could introduce yourself to those watching us today.
Thanks a lot, Kim. It's really a pleasure to talk to ESOMAR community. I've been a member of ESOMAR since 1996. And every time I see the benefit, and I'm very happy that I became a member when I was a very young researcher. Well, as you can see, I've been in research for the past 25 years. I started my life as an expatriate from Lebanon in Kuwait, where I founded Ipsos. It was the first Ipsos in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And after 6 years, I founded ARA, Research and Consultancy, which is the company I co-founded. And we're present in a number of the countries in the Arab world. By nature, I'm a keen researcher. Apparently, since I was very young, very kid, I like to criticize, and I have an observation. I have two young kids who are once finished her master in audiovisual, and another who's studying medicine. So being a father also taught me a lot about youth, how they are changing. And it helps me actually in my work. And I think my work also helped me in raising my kids. In life, I'm very interested in culture. I was cultural activist. I know this word is a bit funny for many, but I live in a country where culture has almost zero donation by the government or zero budget, very little budget. And so we have to do a lot of things to support culture. Recently, I became more activist in the public field. So that's in short about me.
Wow, Tarek, it's an amazing journey. Over 25 years in the industry. That's incredible. I just wanted to ask you, what are you looking most forward to this year in terms of, it could be professional, it could be in your private life, kind of what's the most exciting thing that Tarek is looking forward to?
Look, coming out of 2020, which was terrible year, I think, for everyone in the world. And for me, it was very difficult, the situation in Lebanon and all the markets where we have a lot of difficulties. However, for 2021, I'm optimistic with realistic sense. So our objective is to survive. And I think throughout 2020, we learned to be agile, to convince our clients to use new methods, especially the remote kinds of data collection. And with us also being able to adjust to the new world as consumers' behavior has really shifted. So we're seeing this as an opportunity for us to provide more insights to our clients. And I think this is the role of us in the industry, is to be able today to give a bit of more light to this difficult period for so many industries.
Tarek, je veux changer en français pour passer un petit message à notre monde francophone d'ESOMAR. Si tu aurais un message à faire passer justement à ce monde, qu'est-ce que tu leur dirais, vu qu'on est maintenant, qu'on est capable de se rejoindre au numérique?
C'est vrai qu'à travers le numérique, moi je suis une personne qui voyageait souvent car nous sommes des petits pays entre le Koweït, l'Émirat, bien sûr des autres un peu plus grandes comme l'Arabie et l'Égypte, qui étaient tout le temps en voyage. Toute ma vie, j'ai passé en faisant des voyages. On n'a pas le TGV ici, malheureusement. Et alors, je trouve cette opportunité de se communiquer à travers ce numérique qui m'a un peu donné plus de temps pour moi-même, pour vivre ma vie chez moi. Et je suis une personne qui aime aussi de répéter les mêmes choses, de voir les voisins chaque jour, les vendeurs, les magasins. Et je crois que c'est un moyen à explorer, de voir comment on peut travailler ensemble, même au sein de ESOMAR. Et d'ailleurs, vous faites très bien. De se voir comme ça, comme on fait aujourd'hui, de se connaître à travers le numérique, car c'est l'avenir et à la fois il faut voir les avantages qu'on peut accueillir à travers ce genre de télécommunication.
Tarek, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little detour via the Francophone community. Tarek, maybe wanted to just highlight one more thing, because I know that there's one thing that you very much keenly pushed within the ESOMAR community, and it's the charitable initiatives that you undertake and you support. You're a big supporter of the ESOMAR Foundation. But as we all know, Lebanon also had a bit of a crisis moment last year, and I know that you are very keen to launch an initiative, and maybe you could share some words about that to the rest of the ESOMAR people watching this video.
Yes, well, I'll do that if you ask me the question in Arabic. Okay. Look, while you were asking this question, I got the chill. I remember when ESOMAR announced ESOMAR Foundation maybe 10 years back. And the very next year, I think there was a story about a researcher in Pakistan or Afghanistan somewhere who was unfortunately killed during his work. And there was some raising of funds for this case. And since then, I saw how ESOMAR Foundation was able to help throughout the world and to make lives better. And because personally, I believe research is to make lives better. It's not to make it worse. It's not to profit here. On the contrary. And I think ESOMAR Foundation, I was from the beginning very keen to be engaged with ESOMAR Foundation. And look how things turn out, that After the Beirut blast in 4th of August, when the port was exploded, and I think it's the biggest explosion that is not nuclear in the world. And thanks for ESOMAR Foundation, we launched an initiative to help researchers in need who might have lost a house, or they lost their job, or perhaps only their computer and they are just freelancers. So I say life is about giving, and when you give life, life gives you. I think if we all work together with this spirit, we certainly can make a big difference for many, many around us.
Tarek, I think it's such a beautiful way to finish this interview, and I'm really proud and excited that you are our first member in Focus. Tarek, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your thoughts and views in this segment, and we look forward to many more of these. But Tarek, what a great send-off for us. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Kim. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, and welcome to this first in a series of reflections I would like to share with you. Reflections from the kitchen table, so to speak, which hopefully we can then go on and debate and discuss with representatives from the industry. Why the kitchen table, you may ask? Well, it's the only table that doesn't have a computer on it, so that means no conference calls, and it gives us time to think and reflect on some of the issues that face our sector. To start off with, I thought I'd take the theme of privacy. Now, don't get dismayed or frightened. This isn't going to be a technical or a legal discussion on privacy. Rather, it's a reflection on the broader principles, perhaps, that privacy imposes upon us. So this is just a reflection, perhaps, for you to consider going forward. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, on the 28th of January, we celebrated International Privacy Day. We hosted a series of discussions right along the day, discussions and presentations on how our sector was addressing privacy and the challenges that it raised. And it's not an exaggeration, I don't think, to say that all of the speakers, and indeed all of the audience, showed a remarkable level of expertise on this particular point. They showed a heightened awareness of the challenges that privacy law brings us, the ways in which we are addressing those, but also a sensitivity to the increased challenges that will come as we adopt things like algorithmic intelligence systems moving forward, and how we might address those in the future too. This level of appreciation for privacy I thought was great to see, because it was also interesting to note that nearly everybody across the 3 sessions that day recognized that consumer trust, or people's trust, in data collection is probably at its lowest point ever. Years of data misuse from different companies in different industrial sectors, whether malicious, intended or accidental, has created an environment where the vast majority of the public are significantly worried about their personal data, how it's collected and how it's being used. Now, this is not new news. Over the past number of years, ESOMAR has built up quite a considerable body of knowledge regarding consumers' views on data collecting companies, as well as assessing the corporate understanding of a company's obligations towards the data that they may have in their possession. And both show that there's a significant amount of work still to be done. In early 2020, the worldwide independent network of market research companies, WINMR, published a report into attitudes from 40,000 people across 40 countries worldwide, which found that trust in data collection was at a crisis level globally, as more than 70% of people, 70%, showed that they had serious concerns about sharing their data. In addition, people's net trust levels in some of the biggest tech firms was also shown to be negative, which the recent news about the acquisition of Fitbit by Google, the absorption of WhatsApp into Facebook, and indeed the most recent data breach from Grindr will have done absolutely nothing to improve. As for the market research sector, well, we ranked about the same as the social media companies, which, let's be honest, is not a particularly good advertisement for our sector. Now, I do accept that privacy is in a tough spot. It's kind of caught in that grey area between legality and ethics. Just because something can legally be done, it doesn't mean that ethically it should be done. In addition, privacy is also seen to be something that is a corporate obligation, something that the legal folks or the data protection folks need to look after. But it's never given to sales or marketing. Why not? For more than 70 years, ESOMAR members have voluntarily committed to a higher standard in terms of respecting people, their data, and the obligations that we make to keeping that information private. We really must advertise this better, and consumers are looking for this reassurance. The recent accelerated switch to digital across all of our ways of behavior in business mean that our strength of reputation in this particular area has never been more important, and the commercial benefits have never been clearer. Consumers have said that they will be far more prepared to continue providing their data to companies who show complete transparency as to the why and the how they are collecting it. Data privacy, therefore, is not just a legal requirement. It is a marketing strength for us. Please don't ignore it. Highlighting your membership, highlighting your commitment to privacy, highlighting our 70 years of success in this regard will distinguish ourselves and will separate us quite considerably from others. This is also a message that will help to restore that consumer trust that is clearly lacking. It will ensure that people will continue to give us their data, the data that we need to help guide more effective and better decision making. If you're in need of more advice on this, then please don't hesitate to contact us, or don't hesitate to chat some of the guys working in the ESOMAR Plus team, the service that we provide. Think about it, please do shout out loud about it, and thanks for listening.